Promoting my book yesterday, Taffy Howe, and I came across somebody who I think maybe he hasn't has just had an afternoon nap, and maybe he had worked nights or something like that. But when I was talking to him about the book, there wasn't really much interest. He had a look, but there wasn't much enthusiasm while he was looking at it and talking about the book. And he said to me that he helps people, and he was telling me in certain areas, in a way, it looked as though he helps people who are creative, and as regards to other things as well. And he just seemed as though what he was saying was he's a professional, and he's one of these people that can catalyze a situation to help someone get to where they want to get to. That's what it sounded like he was saying. So while he was looking at my book, he sort of looked at it, not very enthusiastically, and said, "Don't think you're really going to sell like this, though." And I said, "Well, I've sold over 60,000 copies of this book, and so I think I'm doing all right." And then he said, "So have you sold all the books like this?" Because I canvas selling the books. And I said, 95% of the books I've sold has been like this. It's only because, and I explained that my background sales and marketing, and I worked for quite a few different companies before I had my family. So I sort of gained experience working in that field. So, and then, I explained that eventually I may need an agent and so on and so forth. And he said, "Well, if you've sold, that many books, you should be able to get an agent." That picked him up a bit. And then he just gave me the book back and said, "Well, I can't, I'm not going to buy it though." And I said, "No problem, that's all." And then he said, and I said to him, "It's a shame though when people say to me, some people have said it, that I don't think you're going to sell it that way." And I said, "Can you imagine if I had just started selling the book?" And I know I've done a video like this before, but it's happened again. But the reason why I'm sharing is because it didn't really make sense what he said next. Because I said to him, it is sad that some people say, "I don't think you're going to sell the book like that." Can you imagine if I just started selling the book like that, how discouraging it would be, something like that? And he said, "Yeah, the amount of times people have said stuff to me, and it didn't really make sense because I was actually going to say, no, but that's what you actually said to me." It didn't really make sense, that conversation, because that's what he said to me. And then he's going, "Yeah, the amount of people that have said things to me," meaning things to him to discourage him, when he basically said that to me to discourage me. But there you go. I don't know if you've been in a situation like that where you're talking to somebody and they're claiming to be a professional to help people move from A to B to B to Z, but there's no enthusiasm as regards to what you are doing, to what regards what you are creating. There's no enthusiasm at all. And then they turn around and say, "Well, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't." And then you sort of underline what they've said to say that you've actually done well in what you're doing. But it's a shame when people do discourage you and say they don't think it's going to work. And then have you ever heard it? Have you ever been in a position where the person's turned around as if to say, "Yeah, I mean, I was really discouraged when I, started doing my business, or when I started to someone, not realizing that they have actually discouraged you." Has that ever happened to you? It's the first time in all the years I've been selling my book. It's the first time I've come across someone that has contradicted themselves like that. It just didn't really make sense. But don't forget to comment. Don't forget to let me know. Comment on my page. Welcome, Rosalind Roberts. And don't forget to, I'm trying to remember what I normally say. Don't forget to subscribe, Like, I'm going to have to look back at what I normally say. Yeah, because it'd be good to hear from you. It really would be good to hear from you. And also let me know how you're progressing with whatever it is you're doing, whether it's a business or with your is your career, whatever. It's really encouraging to hear how well you're doing. Um, yeah, and also I wanted to show you because I've actually got this that I've been giving to people, and they're really encouraged by it. And it's like I'm giving them a gift. Basically, somebody has an idea, which is a very good idea, to start giving out bookmarks. It's really, really nice, isn't it? Start giving out bookmarks, right? So, and then at the back of the bookmark, it has got my socials. It's really encouraging, isn't it? Yeah, so when I'm giving this to people, their faces light up, even if they don't buy the book. And you can tell that sometimes I speak to people that don't have time to talk to me because they're working and they're in a Zoom meeting or something like that. But you can tell there's interest there. I give them, and they ask me, have you got anything that you can leave with me so I can look online? And I give them this. I'm waiting for new business cards to come along. So, but in the meantime, I give them that. Otherwise, I most probably would give them the business card. And then if someone buys the book, then I'd give them the bookmark. But people are taking it and their faces light up. Like I've given them a gift. I feel really encouraged by it. So my socials are Rosalind 1325. That's the Instagram. Facebook is Rosalind Roberts. And then X is at author_RR Roberts. And it makes your name really prominent. And I'm gonna have to get more because they are going really, really. It's a really, really good idea. Really is. I should basically put one in my books that I'm reading because normally I use a business card as a bookmark. But yeah, so that's all good. It's nice when you're progressing, isn't it? And I've got some other ideas that I'm going to be putting pen to paper with, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. I was sharing about the fact that I've got an idea at my event that we had on Thursday, my Come and See event, and I said that let me get it together first before I give more information out. But I'm really excited about that. It's about more or less something I shared before, that I put together an introduction to some videos that I'm going to be doing on bullying. And I shared before how, I tried to film outside the school where it happened, and I basically gave a good review for the school because it had nothing to do with the school. But I was approached by someone that worked in the school. This was over a half term, but then they said it's better if I asked for permission, even though I was filming outside of the school. So I did, but I'll share in another video what the response was. But in the meantime, take care. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.